What? Man Yun's heart pounded violently at Xiao Yan's words. He glanced at Xiao Yan and saw the smile in his eyes. A thought immediately struck him, and he turned toward the site of the explosion, his own eyes instantly blazing with excitement. The giant jaw ant king was a spirit beast even stronger than the black demon eye wolf. If he could obtain its spirit core, then with his potential in the barbarian domain, it might greatly increase his chances of rescuing his mother. At the thought of this, Man Yun trembled with excitement. Suppressing the overwhelming joy in his heart, he turned to Xiao Yan and solemnly said, "If I, Man Yun, can obtain the giant jaw ant king's spirit core, I will forever be indebted to Brother Xiao." With that, he shot off toward the explosion. Xiao Yan could not help feeling puzzled. It didn't seem that he had done anything for Man Yun, so why had he suddenly made such a promise? Shaking his head, Xiao Yan let out a low shout. The sky phoenix wings behind him flapped repeatedly, and he quickly caught up with Man Yun. The two soon returned to the site of the explosion. Every tree within dozens of meters had vanished. Several towering earthen mounds had been flattened, and nearly all of the thousands of giant jaw ants had been blasted into fragments. Only a single enormous black ant remained, its body curled tightly into a black sphere, lying motionless on the ground. After a moment, the black sphere suddenly trembled. Then the giant jaw ant king slowly extended its head and 8 legs. Seeing that its surface was almost completely unscathed, Xiao Yan's expression shifted, and his gaze fixed on its shell with growing intensity. Man Yun quickly sensed the giant jaw ant king's weakened state. Having borne the full force of the black demon eye wolf's self-destruction, it now possessed at most the strength of a 9-star Dodi. With a delighted smile, Man Yun let out a low shout. As his aura surged, his body began to expand. Once he broke through to the 8-star Dodi level, his height had increased by nearly half. Feeling the seemingly endless energy coursing through his body, blazing flames danced in his eyes. With a flip of his hand, the spiked club appeared in his grasp. Roaring loudly, Man Yun charged at the immobilized giant jaw ant king. His spiked club crashed down like a falling meteor, carrying overwhelming force as it smashed towards target. Xiao Yan raised an eyebrow. Even he could feel tremendous pressure from that strike, yet expecting it alone to kill the giant jaw ant king was nothing more than wishful thinking. Bang! A deafening explosion rang out. Man Yun stared in disbelief at the giant jaw ant king, which had merely trembled slightly without suffering the slightest damage. The numbing force rebounding through his arms left him stunned. That strike had been powerful enough to kill an ordinary early-stage 8-star magical beast in a single blow, yet had accomplished absolutely nothing against the giant jaw ant king. Unwilling to accept it, Man Yun let out a furious roar. Deep within his narrow eyes, flames seemed to burn. The primordial emperor chi inside his body poured frantically into the spiked club, coating it in a faint flowing radiance. With every cycle of that glow, the weapon's power seemed to grow even stronger. Only when his face had turned somewhat pale did Man Yun finally stop. Gripping the spiked club tightly and sensing the immense power contained within it, he smiled faintly before once again looking toward the tightly curled giant jaw ant king. The giant jaw ant king also seemed to sense the overwhelming threat. It let out furious shrieks that echoed incessantly in their ears, while a faint layer of black spiritual energy gradually emanated from its body. Barbarian Wolf Strike. With a thunderous shout, the spiked club in Man Yun's hands became like a ferocious lone wolf, smashing down upon the giant jaw ant king with the unstoppable momentum of a tiger descending the mountain. Explosive gusts of wind howled along its path. Even Xiao Yan's expression turned extremely solemn upon sensing the power of the attack. If he were struck by it himself, even with little protecting him, he would likely be seriously injured. Its only flaw was the excessively long time required to prepare it. After taking Man Yun's strongest blow, the giant jaw ant king immediately let out a pained cry. Although its shell remained completely intact, its internal organs had been thrown into chaos. Dark red blood continuously flowed from its mouth and nostrils. Seeing that even his ultimate attack had failed to kill the giant Xiao King, Man Yun finally gained a full appreciation of just how formidable spirit beasts truly were. He weakly struck the giant Xiao King a few more times with his spike club before turning around helplessly. "Brother Xiao, do you have any ideas?" Xiao Yan stepped forward and studied the giant Xiao King's shell for a moment. Flicking all 10 fingers, he sent 10 miniature crimson gold flame lotuses streaking toward it like 10 streams of light. The instant the flames touched the giant Xiao King, it reacted as though struck by lightning, letting out agonized cries as its body writhed and trembled violently. Black scorch marks unexpectedly began to appear across its incomparably hard shell. Xiao Yan's heart skipped a beat as he watched the charred patches spread. Surely he wasn't about to destroy the giant Xiao King's shell? He still had great use for it. Just as he hesitated over whether to stop, Xiao Yan suddenly noticed what seemed to be a thin, glowing membrane beneath the cracked shell. His spirits immediately lifted, and he increased the power of the flames even further. As time passed, the wailing of the giant Xiao King grew softer and softer, and its body eventually became rigid. After the flames completely burned away the giant Xiao King's carapace, a thin membrane that appeared soft and faintly shimmering with traces of silver light emerged before Xiao Yan's eyes. Beneath the membrane lay a dark, black glowing spirit core. Seeing this, Man Yun was overjoyed. He stepped forward to inspect the membrane, then turned his gaze toward the spirit core beneath it, excitement overflowing from his expression. "Brother Xiao, the reason the giant Xiao King had such strong defenses is likely due to this membrane. Logically speaking, since you were the one who killed it, all the spoils should belong to you. However, this spirit core is of great use to me. I hope Brother Xiao can bear the pain of parting with something dear." After thinking for a moment, Man Yun suddenly spoke to Xiao Yan in a sincere tone. Xiao Yan felt a warmth in his heart upon hearing this, and smiled. "There's no need to speak of bearing the pain of parting. This spirit core is of no use to me anyway. Besides, I was helping you, Brother Man Yun." Saying this, Xiao Yan placed the fist-sized spirit core into Man Yun's hand. This spirit core should have been yours to begin with. Man Yun also felt a warmth in his heart, and the vigilance in his gaze toward Xiao Yan almost completely disappeared. After letting out a sigh of relief, just as he was about to speak, his expression suddenly changed. Fury erupted in his eyes as he looked toward a small, towering hill in the distance. Just as Xiao Yan stored the membrane into his storage ring, he sensed Man Yun's anger. Startled, he immediately followed his gaze. In his line of sight appeared a man wearing the same clothing as Man Yun. The man looked to be about the same age as Man Yun. His entire body seemed filled with power, his muscles bulging in thick blocks, making him noticeably more robust than Man Yun. His thin face carried a cold, sinister smile, and his eyes were like those of a venomous snake, fixed tightly on Man Yun. "Manly!" Man Yun almost ground his teeth as he spat out these two words. Looking at the man, he could not help but think of his mother, and he wished nothing more than to grind his bones to dust. However, Man Yun still maintained his last shred of calm. Man Li's strength was significantly greater than his. Alone, he had no confidence in killing him. Man Li glanced at the black spirit core in Man Yun's hand, a greedy look appearing in his eyes, which then turned into a sharp, killing intent. He then looked at Xiao Yan beside Man Yun, and, upon sensing that the latter only had mid-8-star stage strength, immediately revealed a look of disdain. With a light chuckle, Man Li said, "Man Yun, quite lucky, aren't you? You actually obtained a 5 paths Emperor warrior level spirit beast spirit core. I risked my life to get only a 3 paths spirit core. As your clan brother, if my spirit core is too low grade, it would be embarrassing. How about we exchange?" Hearing Man Li's shameless words, Xiao Yan felt a wave of disgust, and Man Yun's face turned ashen. After a long while, he coldly laughed. "Clan brother? Heh, The man Xingtian line really has thick skin. Man Yun, you little bastard. How dare you utter such treasonous words? Hearing Man Yun directly insult the ancestor of his lineage, Man Li's expression instantly twisted as he roared. What crime has my mother committed? That old dog man Xingtian actually framed her and imprisoned her in the barbarian punishment prison. Thinking of his mother possibly suffering torment in the barbarian punishment prison, Man Yun's heart bled. Man Li sneered coldly. Your mother? Humph. The barbarian domain ancestral precepts forbid intermarriage with outsiders. Your father violated the ancestral rules and secretly married a woman from the spirit domain, giving birth to a bastard like you. How could the pure bloodline of my barbarian domain be allowed to be tainted? Originally, both your parents should have been executed to uphold the ancestral law, but the ancestor showed mercy and only imprisoned your mother in the barbarian punishment domain and crippled your father's cultivation. You should be grateful. Man Li spoke these words with righteous indignation. Xiao Yan roughly understood the situation after hearing this and could not help but shake his head. Having traveled extensively for many years, he immediately knew who was right and who was wrong. Glancing at Man Li, he thought to himself that this guy likely played no small role in framing Man Yun's parents. Without the expected rage, Man Yun only let out a cold laugh. After a long pause, he said, Man Li, the so-called ancestral precepts you speak of were apparently first violated by that old dog man Xingtian. Don't think I don't know. My father was the strongest of his generation back then. Even if he couldn't inherit the position of Northern Barbarian King in the future, becoming a first elder would have been more than enough. Yet man Xingtian, that old dog, plotted against my father in order to help your father inherit the position of Northern Barbarian King, eliminating him in the process. Do you think I know nothing about this? Man Li's face immediately turned alternating shades of red and pale. Man Yun was right. The position of Barbarian King in the Northern Barbarian King manor was not inherited from father to son. Instead, among the pure blood members of the clan, the strongest of each generation was selected to inherit the throne. 10 candidates were chosen per generation, and when the old Barbarian King stepped down, the 10 would compete. The victor would become the new Barbarian King. Back then, Man Yun's father was an extraordinary talent of his generation, breaking through to the Emperor Dao realm in a very short time and fully qualifying for the next Barbarian King position. Man Li's father was also a rare genius second only to him, but under the brilliance of Man Yun's father, he had no chance of winning. When Man Yun's father went to the spirit domain to cultivate, he fell in love with a woman. Man Li's ancestor man Xun'er used this as an excuse and, together with several grand elders, pressured the current Barbarian King. The Barbarian King, narrow-minded as he was, immediately fed Man Yun's father's cultivation and suppressed Man Yun's mother in the barbarian punishment prison. From then on, Man Li's father became the strongest candidate for the next Barbarian King. Enraged out of humiliation, Man Li's killing intent grew stronger. He shouted coldly, "Little bastard, today will be your burial ground." As he spoke, a spike club appeared in his hand, and his aura surged explosively, quickly breaking through the 8-star Do Emperor level and reaching the early 9-star stage. Seeing a hint of shock in Man Yun's cold gaze, Man Li sneered. Man Yun, my father is the future Northern Barbarian King, one of the 4 most distinguished kings of the barbarian domain. I broke through to 9-star Do Emperor days ago. A bastard like you. What do you have to fight me with? Being repeatedly called a bastard, murderous intent gradually condensed in Man Yun's narrow eyes as his aura rapidly rose. A faint red glow appeared around his sturdy body, and his strength also reached a level equal to Man Li's. Gripping the spike club tightly, Man Yun said calmly, "Brother Xiao, shall we attack together?" Xiao Yan smiled faintly without speaking, but the primordial Emperor Qi within his body began circulating rapidly. Man Li looked at Xiao Yan and mocked. "Man Yun, is this the helper you found? Just a trash at the mid-8-star stage. You want to join forces with him?" Upon hearing this, Xiao Yan let out a soft breath and calmly said, "Brother Man Yun, Make your move. This guy is definitely going to die today. Man Yun grinned. Then I'll take Brother Zhao's good words. Mocked by two men he considered already dead, Man Li's face instantly turned ashen. He said coldly, "You're forcing me to kill you both." With that, he roared and shot toward Xiao Yan, the spike club in his hand smashing straight down at Xiao Yan's head. Seeing the fierce attack, Xiao Yan did not dare be careless. In terms of strength, he was definitely not a match for Man Li. His eyes flickered as the glazed emperor flame gathered in his hands. With a slight movement, he dodged the fatal strike, then formed palm strikes filled with blazing flames and slammed them toward Man Li. Missing his strike, Man Li's expression changed slightly. Feeling a scorching heat beside him, he let out a cold shout. Crimson light instantly covered his large palm, and without hesitation, he met Xiao Yan's palm strike head-on. Boom! The two palms collided. Man Li leapt back and landed on the ground. Feeling the burning pain in his palm, he couldn't help but inhale sharply. Seeing Xiao Yan retreat only 2 or 3 steps with a calm expression, a flush of anger rose on Man Li's face. Before he could recover, Man Yun's cold voice suddenly came from behind. "Man Li, did you forget about me?" Followed by the sound of a swift breaking wind. Startled, Man Li tried to dodge, but it was already too late. He could only roar in fury as red light burst around his body. In an instant, his strength surged to the peak of the 9-star stage, nearly reaching its limit, and his height grew a full head taller than Man Yun, who had also entered a berserk state. With a furious shout, Man Li forcefully endured Man Yun's fierce attack. Letting out a painful roar, he quickly dodged another strike from Man Yun. After fully unleashing his near 9-star peak strength, Man Li looked at the solemn Xiao Yan and Man Yun and sneered coldly. "Not bad. You forced me to use berserk state so quickly. Now, your death sentence is here." His killing intent deepened even further. Man Li grinned savagely and stretched his body, his bones cracking loudly. Looking at Man Li, whose strength had increased significantly, Xiao Yan and Man Yun exchanged a glance, both seeing the seriousness in each other's eyes. With a ferocious grin, Man Li put away his spike club, stomped the ground, and shot toward Man Yun. At the same time, he raised his enormous fist and smashed it fiercely toward Man Yun's head. If it landed, Man Yun would undoubtedly die. With flickering eyes, Man Yun also let out an angry shout. Origin Emperor Qi within his body surged wildly into the spike club in his hand. The spike club immediately began to tremble violently, emitting a faint glow. When Man Li's fist was already inches away, Man Yun raised his slightly pale face, a trace of madness flashing in his narrow eyes. Mid-tier Emperor Technique, Barbarian Wolf Fang. With another furious roar, Man Yun swung the spike club toward Man Li. The faint light on the club seemed to transform into a massive wolf fang, gleaming with a cold, bone-white glow as it shot straight toward Man Li. A hint of shock flashed in Man Li's eyes, but he immediately let out a furious roar as well. His enormous fist, now shrouded in crimson light, smashed toward the massive wolf fang. Boom! A deafening explosion rang out. Xiao Yan's figure quickly retreated as he silently marveled at the power of a mid-tier emperor technique. At the same time, his hands hidden within his sleeves could not help but twitch slightly before returning to normal. The giant fist and wolf fang collided with a metallic crash. In the next instant, Man Yun's face turned deathly pale. He spat out a mouthful of blood and was forced to stagger back more than 10 steps. Man Li, however, only took 2 or 3 steps back. He casually glanced at his slightly reddened fist, then let out a ferocious smile. Looking at the weakened Man Yun, a flash of delight appeared in his eyes. His figure once again shot forward violently, his massive fist flaring with faint crimson light as it smashed toward Man Yun. "Man Yun, you think you can fight me? Go to hell." Man Li roared, as if all his strength had been gathered into that single fist, intending to kill Man Yun in one blow. As Man Yun watched the fist rapidly enlarge in his vision, a trace of madness flashed in his eyes. Surprisingly, the initial shock faded, and he instead let out a grim smile, slowly closing his eyes. Have you resigned yourself to fate? Seeing this, Manly sneered as the force behind his fist increased once more. Hiv hiv. At that moment, a burst of laughter suddenly came from behind. Manly was startled, sensing a heart-palpitating energy behind him. His expression changed drastically, and his charging body forcibly halted as he attempted to dodge to the side. A sharp glint flashed in Xiao Yan's eyes as a cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. His palms gently pushed forward. The large fire lotus he had been preparing for a long time instantly surged in speed, transforming into a streak of crimson golden light that shot toward Manly. Suppressed by the terrifying pressure of the fire lotus, Manly's movements slowed considerably. By the time he reacted, the fire lotus was already right before him. Feeling the soul-chilling pressure from behind, the excitement in Manly's eyes quickly faded, replaced by shock and fear. He never expected that the black-robed youth, merely an 8-star mid-battle emperor, could unleash such a ferocious strike. In an instant, Manly gritted his teeth. Crimson light surged across his skin. As the fire lotus roared in, the red glow had already formed a crystalline armor. At the moment it appeared, Manly's face quickly turned pale. Boom! Accompanied by a massive explosion, nearby trees were sent flying by the shockwave, their branches and roots shattered. Only a few towering ancient trees remained completely unmoved, unaffected in the slightest. These trees had existed for who knows how many years, nourished by the world's origin energy, and were already indestructible. Bastard! With a furious roar, Manly leapt out from the center of the explosion and landed on a huge rock. His blood-red eyes fixed on Xiao Yan and Man Yun, killing intent surging within them. Xiao Yan's gaze swept over Manly. The latter's upper clothing was in tatters, and both arms were charred black. Seeing that Manly had not suffered severe injuries, Xiao Yan let out a faint sigh and withdrew his bloodied hands into his sleeves. Just now, while Man Yun and Manly were fighting, he and Xiao Yan had jointly formed this fire lotus. By Xiao Yan's estimation, its power was enough to kill any magical beast below the 9-star level. He had originally thought that even if Manly took it head-on, he would at least be injured, but the result was not as satisfying as expected. I still underestimated the children of these great clans. Xiao Yan smiled bitterly. The crystalline armor that had appeared on Manly's body at that critical moment had been clearly seen by him. Although the fire lotus had broken through that layer of armor, Xiao Yan had also paid a considerable price. The already scarce origin Emperor Qi within his body had become even thinner. He glanced at Man Yun. The man still had his eyes tightly closed, but unlike before, a faint black hue was gradually surfacing on his originally pale face. Xiao Yan's mind stirred as he let out a soft breath and looked toward the enraged Manly, murmuring, "Now, it's a life-and-death battle between you and me." Sensing the burning pain on his back, Manly glared darkly at Xiao Yan. Just now, at the critical moment, he had condensed berserk power into a crystalline armor on his back, enough to withstand a full-force strike from a mid-tier emperor technique. It was still easily shattered by Xiao Yan's fire lotus. This guy actually possesses an emperor technique comparable to a high-tier one. An 8-star battle emperor. How is that possible? Manly exhaled deeply, then let out a sinister laugh. Even with powerful techniques, you're still only at 8 stars. Both fists slowly clenched. Manly then noticed Man Yun, who had his eyes tightly shut. After taking a closer look at the black patterns on the latter's face, he couldn't help but freeze in shock. Seeing Manly turn his attention to Man Yun, Xiao Yan inwardly thought something was wrong. The primordial Emperor Qi within his body began circulating rapidly as he let out a low shout and shot toward Manly like a bolt of lightning. Manly's thoughts were interrupted by Xiao Yan's shout. Coming back to his senses, he looked at Xiao Yan charging straight at him and couldn't help but laugh furiously. "You're courting death." As he spoke, the strength of a late 9-star stage erupted from his body. He stepped forward and met the incoming fire dragon with a massive fist. Boom! The fire dragon let out a mournful cry and vanished as its body twisted, while Manly was forced to retreat 3 or 4 steps. Why aren't you using your fire lotus anymore? With a ferocious grin, Manly shot forward again, both hands clenched into fists as he smashed down toward Xiao Yan. His enormous body looked like a boulder falling from the sky. A sharp glint flashed in Xiao Yan's eyes. With a flick of his fingers, several fire curtains appeared before him. Just as they formed, Manly's fists came crashing down, carrying overwhelming force that shattered layer after layer of fire barriers. After breaking through the final fire curtain, the grin on Manly's lips widened even further, as if he could already see Xiao Yan being smashed into mincemeat. However, the expected panic did not appear. Xiao Yan's eyes remained calm and steady. In that brief moment of Manly's shock and rage, Xiao Yan suddenly smiled. His right fist, wrapped in crimson gold flame, fiercely struck toward Manly's chest. Seeing Xiao Yan clearly attempting to trade injury for injury, Manly's grin deepened, a trace of mockery flashing in his eyes. His body, after berserk transformation, was as hard as rock. This fellow actually dared to use such a method, truly foolish beyond measure. Even so, Manly remained cautious. A faint layer of red light emerged in front of his chest, protecting it. Bang! A metallic clash rang out. Manly was stunned as he looked forward, only to see a black ruler standing upright in front of Xiao Yan, blocking his powerful punch. Although a clear fist imprint had been left on the black ruler, Xiao Yan himself was unharmed. Before Manly could react, Xiao Yan's palm had already pressed against his chest. The flames on Xiao Yan's hand seemed almost sentient at that moment, transforming into a sharp fire blade. In an instant, it pierced through the red light's protection and stabbed fiercely into Manly's chest. The moment the fire blade entered Manly's chest, Xiao Yan's face turned as pale as paper. His legs went weak, and he nearly collapsed. The earlier risky move of using the mysterious heavy ruler to block Manly's punch had nearly exhausted his primordial emperor chi, and the fire blade was formed from Little E. Borrowing Little Yi's power was barely enough to heavily injure Manly. Sensing the fire blade breaking through the red light barrier, Manly's expression changed drastically. He immediately circulated the primordial emperor chi within his body, condensing it at his chest in an attempt to force the blade out. The burning pain in his chest was so intense that even his robust body could barely endure it. After an unknown amount of primordial emperor chi was expended, the fire blade in his chest finally stopped and transformed into a streak of flame that returned into Xiao Yan's body. With bloodshot eyes, Manly stared at Xiao Yan, who was leaning against a tree in weakness, his heart surging with boundless killing intent. Glancing at the blood gushing from the wound on his chest and feeling the lingering pain and faint weakness within his body, Manly let out a ferocious laugh, his fists clenched so tightly they creaked. Xiao Yan looked at the enraged Manly, occasionally glancing over with a faint smile. Not far away, Man Yun slowly stood up. At this moment, Man Yun's originally refined face was covered in black patterns. His eyes no longer had pupils. Only hollow, pale whiteness remained. A clear wolf-head sigil appeared on his forehead. His body had grown several zhang taller than before, and his seemingly slender frame now radiated overwhelming power. Around him lingered faint, dark black flames. With a single glance, Xiao Yan understood Man Yun's current strength. 9-star peak stage. He exhaled softly and couldn't help smacking his lips. The people of the barbarian domain truly had many methods. In just a short time, they had raised their strength from 8-star stage to 9-star peak stage. Manly clearly also noticed Man Yun standing up. He turned around, and upon seeing Man Yun's strength, his expression changed drastically as he shouted in shock and fury. Impossible! How could you possibly possess this level of strength? Ignoring Manly's furious roar, Man Yun said nothing. He simply stared quietly at him, his face under the black patterns gradually turning slightly pale. Bastard! A mongrel like you actually reached 9-star peak stage. Manly felt a trace of fear rising in his heart and became alarmed. Looking at Man Yun's indifferent expression, he hardened his resolve and roared as he shot forward, his 5 fingers forming claws, charging straight at him. Seeing Manly rushing to kill him without hesitation, a strange smile appeared on Man Yun's lips. He said, "Manly, that old dog man, Xun'er, imprisoned my mother in the barbarian punishment domain because she is from the spirit domain. Today, I will use the trump card my mother left me to kill you, and consider it a small revenge for her." Speaking as he did so, he extended both hands and bent them into claws. The black light flames surrounding his body surged entirely into his hands, turning them a faint black crystal color. A sharp, chilling aura instantly erupted from Man Yun's hands. "Just you." Manly laughed in rage, the force in his hands increasing several notches. Boom! The 2 hands collided, unleashing a powerful air current that sent dust swirling all around. Their hands crossed and locked, blocking Man Li's sharp claws. Man Yun shouted loudly as black light flames flowed over his arms. In the next moment, Man Li was sent flying backward like a cannonball, slamming into a huge boulder and shattering it into pieces. With a single strike, Man Li was blasted away. Sensing waves of weakness spreading through his body, Man Yun looked toward the place where Man Li had fallen, killing intent flashing endlessly in his hollow eyes. He immediately roared in anger and shot forward. After being sent flying by Man Yun, Man Li only felt boundless humiliation filling his chest. He was the heir of the future Northern Barbarian King, of noble and exalted status. Yet he had been forced into such a miserable state by some lowly clan bastard. He sprang up from the ground, wiped his mouth, and saw the shocking dark red blood on his hand. He snarled, "Blood! That trash actually made me bleed my noble blood." Seeing Man Yun charging at him, Man Li roared furiously, his eyes blood red, raising a giant fist to strike at him. Man Yun gave a cold laugh as he also threw out a massive punch to meet the incoming blow. Bang! The moment the 2 fists collided, a sudden flash of white light passed over the wolf head sigil on Man Yun's forehead. Then, accompanied by Man Li's miserable roar of rage, the sigil returned to normal. "You bastard!" Man Li was once again blasted away by Man Yun. Feeling the intense pain in his right hand, he roared in fury, his massive body trembling violently. His blood-red eyes locked onto Man Yun as if he wanted to devour him alive. Xiao Yan, watching everything that had just happened, finally relaxed slightly. Judging from the situation, Man Yun clearly had the upper hand. Killing Man Li was only a matter of time. However, seeing Man Yun's increasingly pale face beneath the black patterns, Xiao Yan's just settled heart rose again. Forcing down the dizziness before his eyes, Man Yun said indifferently, "Man Li, you are no match for me now. You can die." With that, he prepared to strike. Man Li suddenly let out a sinister laugh. "Man Yun, you think too highly of yourself. Just a bastard like you dares to spout such arrogance? I am the future heir of the Northern Barbarian King. If you dare kill me, my father will slaughter every single one of your lineage in revenge." Man Yun glanced at him coldly and uttered one word, "Die." Before Man Li could respond, his body flashed and he was already beside him. A massive fist smashed viciously toward the bloody wound pierced earlier by Xiao Yan's fireblade. Caught off guard, Man Li was sent flying dozens of meters again, his huge body covered in blood. Struggling, he forced himself back to his feet. Man Li suddenly grinned ferociously. "Man Yun, do you really think you can kill me so easily? Do not forget my identity, the future heir of the Northern Barbarian King. Did you think my father prepared nothing for me?" Under the grave gazes of Xiao Yan and Man Yun, he extended his palm with a sinister smile. In his hand was a pill the size of a dragon's eye, pitch black in color, radiating waves of scorching energy. "Blood Barbarian Pill. Man Li, you dare to consume that?" Man Yun sneered coldly, though his eyes grew even more solemn. "It may have severe side effects, but it's enough to kill you. Manly gave a cold, malicious laugh and swallowed the blood barbarian pill in one gulp. Damn it! Seeing this, Man Yun roared and immediately charged forward. After swallowing the pill, Man Li's face instantly turned flushed red, wisps of smoke rising from his head. His already twisted expression became even more grotesque, his blood-red eyes seemingly able to drip blood, and his throat emitted beast-like roars. Man Yun's massive fist tore through the air with heavy whistling sounds, smashing toward him. Just as it was about to land, a dazzling black light suddenly erupted from Man Li's body, forming layers of protection around him. The punch struck as if hitting solid rock, and Man Yun was forced back several steps. His expression darkened as he looked at the howling Man Li, his hands trembling slightly. He then turned to Xiao Yan with a bitter smile. "Brother Xiao, you should leave. After consuming the blood barbarian pill, this guy's strength will at least reach the level of a 2-Dao Emperor soldier. He'll be much harder to deal with." Xiao Yan, who had recovered some of his primordial Emperor Qi, stood up and said in a deep voice, "Do you have confidence in killing him again afterward?" Man Yun shook his head bitterly. "Not much." Xiao Yan smiled faintly. "I still need to stay in the forest domain. If we don't kill him now, I'll have endless trouble in the future. So he must die today." Man Yun let out a breath after hearing this, gritted his teeth, and nodded. "All right, since that's the case, no matter what, we must kill him today." Xiao Yan tossed Man Yun a Qi restoration pill. Glancing at Man Yun's face, pale as paper, he hesitated for a moment and said, "Brother Man Yun, how long can you keep this state going?" Man Yun looked toward Man Li. The latter's furious roars gradually subsided, yet his aura suddenly surged. In an instant, it surpassed Man Yun's, then paused briefly before seeming to break through some kind of shackles, causing his aura to rapidly skyrocket. Gritting his teeth, Man Yun said, "I can't maintain this state for too long. At most, I can hold on for a few more minutes before the primordial Emperor Qi in my body is completely exhausted." Xiao Yan narrowed his eyes at Man Li and muttered, "A few minutes." He then let out a soft breath and was about to speak when Man Yun suddenly said, "Brother Xiao, can you help me block Man Li's attacks for a while?" Xiao Yan froze, then looked at Man Yun in surprise and said, "Brother Man Yun, you found a way?" Man Yun nodded solemnly. "Probably, but it requires a long time to prepare." Xiao Yan glanced at him, said nothing, only nodded, and then stepped forward to face Man Li. Man Yun looked at Xiao Yan gratefully, then closed his eyes. The wolf head mark on his forehead seemed to come alive, howling toward the sky, while faint white light rapidly began to emerge around his body. Sensing the increasingly chaotic aura behind him, Xiao Yan let out a soft breath and looked at Man Li ahead, who was slowly opening his eyes, while his fists gradually tightened. Along with a cold laugh, Man Li finally opened his eyes. At the same time, the layer of black light around his body vanished in an instant. At this moment, Man Li looked as if he were drenched in dark red blood. Scarlet light flickered continuously in his eyes, saliva dripped from the corner of his mouth, and he resembled a starving magical beast, devoid of any humanity. "It's you." Man Li's scarlet eyes stared at Xiao Yan for a long moment before he slowly spoke. Then he licked his lips and grinned viciously. "Good. Since both of you are going to die anyway, I might as well deal with you first before killing Man Yun." The moment his words fell, red light surged violently in Man Li's eyes. His body flickered and vanished from Xiao Yan's sight. Xiao Yan, who had been locking onto him, remained unchanged in expression. Almost at the same instant, he unfurled his sky phoenix wings and shot upward. The next moment, Man Li's claw viciously struck the spot where Xiao Yan had been standing, sending rubble flying everywhere. Feeling the terrifying increase in Man Li's destructive power, Xiao Yan was slightly startled, his expression becoming increasingly solemn. The strength of a 2-Dao Emperor soldier was indeed terrifying, far stronger than a 9-star Dodi. Missing his strike, Man Li looked up at Xiao Yan. The smile on his face, under the backdrop of blood, was extremely sinister. Not bad reaction. Baring his pale teeth, Manly licked his blood-red tongue over his lips and chuckled. Then, stomping hard on the ground, he shot up dozens of meters into the air and hurled a massive punch at Xiao Yan. With no time to dodge, as the giant fist rapidly expanded in his vision, Xiao Yan gritted his teeth. Little E transformed into crimson gold flames in his hand, and in the next moment it became a blazing fire lion that met the incoming fist. Boom! A deafening explosion rang out, accompanied by the mournful cry of the fire lion. Xiao Yan was also sent flying back dozens of meters as if struck by a heavy blow, crashing fiercely into an ancient tree. Struggling to his feet, Xiao Yan looked at Manly descending from the air and couldn't help but let out a bitter smile. This guy was far stronger than before. Seeing Manly charging at him again, Xiao Yan looked into his scarlet eyes and flapped his sky phoenix wings once more, flying into the air. Missing his punch again, Manly was just about to leap once more when a sharp fist wind came from behind him. Without hesitation, he turned around and met it with a heavy punch. Bang! Manly's massive fist slammed heavily into the opponent's body, but there was no expected scream, only a deafening metallic sound. Having consumed the blood brute pill, Manly was almost like a magical beast, his thinking extremely rigid. Seeing Xiao Yan being blasted away by his punch, Manly let out a strange laugh, then shot forward again, instantly catching up to the flying Xiao Yan. He kicked down, striking Xiao Yan's chest and causing it to cave in deeply. D! With a beast-like low roar, Manly threw another punch, carrying a sharp howling wind as it struck Xiao Yan's head. Still no scream, his head shattered like a watermelon, splitting into pieces. But there was no blood. Manly froze for a moment before realizing it was a puppet. Roar! Manly immediately let out a non-human roar, red light flashing violently in his eyes as he looked up toward Xiao Yan standing atop a giant tree. Seeing that Manly had finally discovered him, Xiao Yan glanced at Man Yun, a faint joy rising in his heart. Man Yun's aura had already stabilized, and a huge white spirit wolf was slowly taking shape behind him. Regretting the destruction of DE in his heart, Xiao Yan's figure flickered rapidly, narrowly dodging Man Li's charging punch. At the same time, he flicked his fingers, sending out one multicolored fire lotus after another, which slightly obstructed Man Li's offensive. Boom! After who knew how many fire lotuses were thrown, just as the origin Emperor Qi within Xiao Yan's body was about to be exhausted, Man Yun in the distance suddenly opened his eyes, and an aura that made Xiao Yan shudder erupted from him. Unable to resolve Xiao Yan for a long time, the enraged Man Li was also startled by this aura and turned to look at Man Yun. Upon seeing the white spirit wolf behind the latter, he broke out in a cold sweat. Void Spirit Wolf Talisman. Man Li's mind seemed to recover somewhat due to shock, and he stared blankly at the spirit wolf behind Man Yun. He clearly remembered that when Man Yun's mother once used this move, she had severely injured one of his heavenly venerable level elders with the strength of an Emperor Dao level cultivator. That battle had left him deeply shaken, and now seeing Man Yun use the same technique, even though he possessed a magical beast's instincts, he still felt fear on instinct. At this moment, Man Yun's face was extremely pale, his body swaying as if he could collapse at any moment. Barely steadying himself, he glanced at the alarmed Man Li and smiled faintly. With a gentle wave of his hand, he softly said go. After speaking, he seemed to lose all strength and collapse to the ground. At Man Yun's gesture, the spirit wolf let out a long howl toward the sky, then shot forward like a bolt of lightning, striking at Man Li. Locked by the spirit wolf's powerful pressure, Man Li could not move at all. His eyes turned blood red as he watched it approach. With a furious roar, the black light curtain appeared once more, sealing him in airtight defense. The next moment, the spirit wolf slammed into the black barrier with a roar. It held only for a brief moment before shattering silently. In Man Li's terrified screams, the spirit wolf's gaping maw swallowed him. At the same time, in an unknown deep mountain wilderness far away, a bronze ancient ship filled with primordial aura had landed. Not far away, a white-haired old man with a hunched body and serene expression was fishing alone. Suddenly, his fishing line trembled. The old man slowly opened his clouded eyes, a flash of shock passing through them as he turned to look into the distant mountains. While he was hesitating, an even more ancient sigh came from within the bronze warship. It is the son of Man Xiao. That little fellow is indeed extraordinary. He actually managed to use the Ning clan's spirit talisman technique. After hearing this, the fishing old man showed a trace of worry. If Manly dies, it won't be easy to explain to Man Xingtan. The ancient voice gave a cold snort. What is there to explain? I already gave him enough face by agreeing to let Man Yun and Man Li form a team for this trial. If Manly dies, so be it. If that old fellow is dissatisfied, I am not afraid of him. The fishing old man chuckled lightly and set aside his concerns, returning to fishing in peace. After a long while, he muttered to himself, at only 8-star Do Emperor, he can already activate the Ning clan's spirit talisman of the spirit domain. His future achievements will likely surpass his father. Whether intentionally or not, the old man inside the bronze warship gave a faint hum after a long silence. Roar! Amid Man Li's miserable and furious roar, the spirit wolf opened its bloody maw and instantly swallowed him whole. Through the transparent body of the spirit wolf, Manly could be seen clearly struggling inside, continuously striking it with giant fists, his roars rising wave after wave. Seeing that the spirit wolf had temporarily restrained Manly, Xiao Yan hurried to Man Yun's side. At this moment, Man Yun was already on the brink of death. The black patterns on his face had faded to near invisibility. The wolf-shaped sigil on his forehead was almost gone, and his body, once enlarged by berserk transformation, had returned to normal. Without time to think, Xiao Yan immediately fed him a chi restoration pill. His soul power surged out, checking Man Yun's injuries. After a while, Man Li's roars gradually weakened, his originally fierce aura slowly dissipating, and the spirit wolf's figure also began to blur. At the same time, Man Yun opened his eyes, glanced at the direction of the spirit wolf, and forced a bitter smile. He said still, I'm too weak. Even my last trump card couldn't kill him. Xiao Yan looked for a moment, then suddenly smiled. Man Li is definitely dead. As soon as the words fell, Man Li, trapped inside the spirit wolf, suddenly let out a scream of agony. The blood color throughout his body rapidly faded, and the crimson in his eyes quickly returned to normal. Just as he recovered, Man Li was overwhelmed by the intense pain brought by the blood brute pill he had consumed. The searing agony felt as though it was tearing his nerves apart, twisting his face in torment. At that moment, the spirit wolf roared. Its massive body suddenly exploded, and Man Li immediately let out a heaven-piercing scream. He was violently blasted away by the shockwave, crashing through trees one after another along the way, blood splattering everywhere. Cough! The body slammed into the ground. Man Li suddenly convulsed, then began coughing violently, spewing out mouthfuls of blood with every cough. Your life is really tough. You actually didn't die. Xiao Yan let out a cold snort. Just as he was about to step forward and strike, Man Yun grabbed him and said, Brother Xiao, let me kill him myself. Let it count as avenging a small grievance for my parents. Xiao Yan nodded slightly. He walked to Man Li's side and saw the latter's miserable state. There was not a trace of his earlier arrogance left. Xiao Yan couldn't help but be shocked by Man Yun's trump card from earlier. That trump card was passed down by his mother, and she is from the spirit domain. Could it be that people of the spirit domain possess some special abilities? With a quiet sigh, Xiao Yan looked at Man Li, whose aura was now extremely weak. Thinking back to his own earlier predicament, Xiao Yan once again felt an overwhelming desire for strength. About half an hour later, Man Yun finally recovered somewhat, though his face remained deathly pale. Man Li's injuries, on the other hand, had worsened slightly under Xiao Yan's care. Slowly walking over to Man Li, Man Yun looked at the person he had once dreamed of killing. and his gaze gradually turned ice-cold as killing intent began to condense. Sensing Man Yun's killing intent, Manly forced his eyes open. A flash of venom and fear appeared in his gaze as he endured the agony throughout his body and said, Man Yun, you can't kill me. I am the future crown prince of the barbarian domain. If you kill me, my father will never let you go. Man Yun sneered. If I were afraid of your father's revenge, would you be in this state now? Manly swallowed hard and said, As long as you let me go, I will definitely not tell my father. Seeing Man Yun respond with another cold laugh, the venom in Man Li's eyes deepened. Man Yun, let me go. I promise I will never trouble you again. As he spoke, his fingers slowly began to move. Man Yun glanced at him with a faint smile that was not quite a smile, saying nothing as he slowly raised his hand. Man Yun, let me go, and I'll go back and beg the old ancestor to release your parents. Manly cried out anxiously as he saw Man Yun preparing to strike. Hearing this, Man Yun's raised hand paused. Man Li's expression brightened with joy as he quickly added, I promise that once I return to the barbarian domain, I will make sure the ancestor releases Uncle Man Xiao. As he spoke, the joy in his eyes grew stronger and stronger. It's almost working, Xiao Yan observed calmly as Man Yun made his decision. Just as Manly was about to act, Man Yun suddenly sighed and said, My parents, I will rescue them myself. As his voice fell, a giant fist had already slammed into Man Li's head. Man Li's expression froze, a mixture of ferocity and a trace of joy still lingering on his face. Go tell Man Xingtian. This will also be his fate in the future, Man Yun said as he withdrew his hand. Man Li's head rolled off his neck, spilling a large pool of blood. Seeing this, Xiao Yan also smiled. His gaze fell on the cyan bead, still tightly clenched in Man Li's hand, on the verge of explosion, and after a moment's thought, he picked it up. Upon seeing the cyan bead, Man Yun's expression changed as he muttered, Man Yuan is truly bold, to have actually given this Azure Origin Pearl to his son. Azure Origin Pearl? Xiao Yan curiously examined the cyan bead in his hand, sensing the abundant energy within it, and feeling slightly surprised. The Azure Origin Pearl is a treasure that only experts at Royal Dao level or above in the Barbarian domain can condense. It has tremendous destructive power. One Azure Origin Pearl is enough to heavily injure an Emperor-level expert. Its only drawback is that it is very troublesome to use. Fortunately, Manly didn't have time to activate it just now, otherwise we would have been doomed. Man Yun let out a light breath, feeling a lingering fear in his heart. So powerful, Xiao Yan was secretly shocked. He toyed with it for a moment before handing it to Man Yun. However, Man Yun smiled and shook his head, not taking it. Seeing Xiao Yan's puzzled expression, he said, Since Manly is dead, my trial is also complete. The Azure Origin Pearl is no longer of use to me. You will continue to venture through the forest domain, so this Azure Origin Pearl should be of some help to you, Brother Xiao. Xiao Yan grinned and accepted it without further politeness. Man Yun smiled and said, Brother Xiao, what level is your Emperor technique at right now? Hearing this, Xiao Yan felt a bit embarrassed and replied in a low voice, Low-tier Emperor art. Man Yun was momentarily stunned, then chuckled and took out a black scroll. I was just wondering how to thank Brother Xiao. Since you don't have a stronger Emperor technique, I'll give you this high-tier Emperor art as thanks. With that, he handed the scroll over. Xiao Yan's heart immediately pounded. High-tier Emperor art. This was several times stronger than Flame Dragon Charge. If he could master it, his strength would likely increase significantly. I originally wanted to give you an Emperor Decree level Emperor technique as thanks, but unfortunately, I only have this high-tier Emperor art with me. However, if this high-tier Emperor art is cultivated to perfection, it is comparable to some low-tier Emperor Decree techniques. Man Yun said with a slightly apologetic expression. Xiao Yan quietly drew a breath. These great clan disciples were truly extravagant, casually producing high-tier imperial techniques, speaking of imperial decrees as if they were nothing. In contrast, He had been roaming the forest domain for over a year and still only possessed an initial imperial art as his trump card. Then many thanks, Brother Man Yun. Xiao Yan did not refuse. Higher grade emperor techniques were exactly what he was lacking. One polite hesitation, and a treasure that was within reach might just slip away. Taking the black scroll, Xiao Yan did not examine it closely before placing it into his storage ring. He then looked at Man Yun and said, Brother Man Yun, your trial mission should be considered complete, right? Man Yun smiled faintly. His narrow eyes were filled with excitement. That's right. With the giant jaw Ant King's magic core, once I return to the barbarian domain, my strength will advance rapidly. Xiao Yan nodded. Then Brother Man should be careful of Man Li's ancestor. Man Yun replied, Brother Xiao, rest assured, they still don't dare to make a move against me so easily. After a pause, he added, Brother Xiao intends to continue onward to the star domain, correct? Xiao Yan nodded. The star moon spirit domain was commonly referred to as the star domain, mainly to distinguish it from other spirit domains. If Brother Xiao is interested, you can head southeast. I've heard there's a fallen saint mountain there, formed after a supreme saint fell tens of thousands of years ago. Perhaps you may encounter great fortune there. Supreme Saint. At these two words, Xiao Yan's heart trembled violently before surging with excitement. A Supreme Saint was the title given to the strongest beings in the great world. Existence at that level had already broken free from the constraints of heaven and earth, hence the word supreme, meaning absolute transcendence. This was also the deepest desire in Xiao Yan's heart since arriving in the great world. Speaking of Supreme Saints, Man Yun could not help but sigh in awe. I've heard the Northern Barbarian King is also a Supreme Saint-level expert, but that's only hearsay. In nearly 100 years, no one has seen him. Back then, when my father was punished, a decree was issued, and the first elder carried it out in his place. Within the barbarian domain, heavenly supreme experts are already considered the strongest, practically able to do as they please, shattering mountains and overturning lands with a wave, killing from 10,000 miles away with a single glance. It's hard to imagine how terrifying a higher-level supreme saint must be. Xiao Yan suddenly asked, that ancient mystic sparrow is one of the guardians of the forest domain. Could it also be at supreme saint level? Man Yun pondered for a moment before replying, probably not. If it were truly a supreme saint-level existence, our protector Grand Elder would never have been able to communicate with it directly. Xiao Yan nodded slightly. Indeed, if it were a supreme saint-level being, the long cry that night would not have been something a barbarian clan elder could withstand. Right. About that fallen saint mountain you mentioned. Since it was formed after a supreme saint's fall, it must contain many treasures. Why hasn't the barbarian domain trial gone there? Man Yun replied somewhat awkwardly. To be honest, it's a bit embarrassing. I heard that when the fallen saint mountain first formed, even experts from the central region and the sacred heaven realm came to search for treasures, including heavenly supreme level experts. That was tens of thousands of years ago. If there were any treasures, they would have long been divided up. Moreover, after the passage of time, the mountain has gradually become just an ordinary range. Back then, it was actually the first choice trial location for the barbarian domain. But now it's long deserted with no one left. Any Supreme Saint treasures there have likely already been stripped clean. Brother Xiao can only try his luck there. Xiao Yan smiled. Very well. Since I'm heading toward the star domain anyway, I might as well take a look. Man Yun also smiled, then tossed a jade pendant to Xiao Yan. The pendant was ancient bronze in color, with a weathered man character engraved in the center, carrying an aura of primordial antiquity. This is a subjade of the North Barbarian King Jade. If Brother Xiao enters the barbarian domain in the future, infusing Origin Emperor Qi into it will allow me to sense your presence. Moreover, with this jade, moving within the territories under the North Barbarian King manor will be much easier. Xiao Yan nodded silently and put it away. After recovering his strength, Man Yun glanced at the sky and said, "Then let's part ways here. Brother Xiao, take care." With that, He took a deep look at Xiao Yan before shooting off rapidly in a certain direction. Xiao Yan watched Man Yun leave and let out a faint sigh. He then turned toward the southeast, a slight smile forming on his lips. Fallen Saint Mountain? Supreme Saint. In a distant mountain range, the old fisherman from before patted the newly tamed high-tier heavenly beast beside him and said toward the bronze warship, "Manly is dead. That old fellow back home will definitely fight you to the death when you return." A cold snort came from inside the bronze warship, but no one spoke for a long while. Then a voice suddenly said, "Do you think the Barbarian King crippled Man Zhao's cultivation completely?" The old man outside paused slightly, then replied slowly, "Probably." The decree issued by the Barbarian King was extremely furious. The First Elder and the Grand General personally acted and sent Man Xiao into the North Barbarian Hall. Inside the ship, the old voice fell silent. In a dense forest, Xiao Yan let out a low shout. The mysterious heavy ruler in his hand swept down violently with a sharp, tearing wind. A miserable scream rang out as the jade-poisoned scorpion trembled briefly before collapsing. 8-star peak. Swinging the mysterious heavy ruler twice, Xiao Yan felt the surging primordial emperor chi within his body. He exhaled softly. It had been less than a day since separating from Man Yun. Yet in that brief interval, he had already advanced to 8-star peak. He glanced at the dented area on the upper end of the mysterious heavy ruler and frowned. It was clearly caused by Man Li's palm strike. That bastard. Thinking of D.E., who had already been crippled, and then looking at the dent on the mysterious heavy ruler, Xiao Yan could not help but curse under his breath. Storing the jade-poisoned scorpion's magic core into his storage ring, Xiao Yan's thoughts shifted, and he took out the high-grade Emperor technique that Man Yun had given him. The black scroll lay quietly in his hand. Suppressing his excitement, Xiao Yan slowly unrolled it. Heaven Evolution Fist. The three ancient, powerful characters on the scroll instantly entered his vision, as if radiating an overwhelming force that even made his breathing slightly quicken. Heaven Evolution Fist, what an overbearing name. Xiao Yan could not help but marvel inwardly as his soul power slowly surged into the scroll. The moment his soul power made contact, the scroll suddenly erupted with a powerful suction force. Before he could react, his soul was drawn directly into it. When he regained his senses, an image appeared in his mind. A hunched old man sitting cross-legged, eyes slightly closed, with broad palms resting on his knees. While Xiao Yan was observing him, the old man suddenly spoke. Heaven Evolution Fist is a branch of the Silent Sky Fist. The Silent Sky Fist is a high-tier emperor law. I created it after traveling through the barbarian domain, comprehending the meaning of silence within the Silent Sky Meridian, and advancing to the heavenly venerable level. Its power is immeasurable. The Heaven Evolution Fist is one of the 4 fragments of the Silent Sky Fist. If one is fated to gather all 4 fists into one, they may glimpse my understanding of the Silent Sky Meridian. With that, the old man's figure gradually faded away. Xiao Yan stood there in a daze for a long time before his gaze turned fiery as he looked at the scroll now warm in his hand. A high-tier emperor law. What did that even represent? It was far beyond an emperor decree in power. If he possessed such a technique now, even facing an emperor soldier would give him no fear. Moreover, the insight the old man mentioned was related to advancement into the heavenly venerable level. Although Xiao Yan did not know how powerful a supreme saint truly was, he had some understanding of heavenly venerables, capable of shattering heaven and earth with a wave of the hand, killing enemies from thousands of miles away. With such power, one could virtually roam unchallenged across the great world. It did not take long for Xiao Yan to calm himself. After careful thought, he could not help but let out a powerless sigh. He did not even have a clear concept of how vast the great world was, only knowing that after more than a year, he still had not left the forest domain. How could he possibly gather the remaining 3 parts of the Silent Sky Fist? As for his cultivation technique, the flame mantra at merely low royal rank, how could such a thin strand of primordial emperor qi possibly support the use of an emperor law? After thinking it through, Xiao Yan's enthusiasm faded considerably. He sighed lightly. Then his eyes burned with renewed determination as he looked at the black scroll in his hand and grinned. Then I'll start by mastering this first.